Right now, your brain is making decisions before you even become aware of them. Your heart is beating, your eyes are moving, your breathing changes automatically. Millions of signals fire through your nervous system every second without asking for permission. And this creates a deeply uncomfortable question. If your brain controls everything, then what exactly are you? Most people imagine themselves as the conscious voice inside their head, the thing making choices, forming opinions, and controlling the body like a pilot inside a machine. But modern neuroscience paints a much stranger picture. In some experiments, scientists discovered that brain activity predicting a person's decision appears before the person consciously decides anything at all. In other words, your brain may begin making choices milliseconds before you feel like you decided, which sounds impossible because from your perspective, it feels obvious that you are in control. You decide to stand up, you decide to speak, you decide what to eat, where to go, and what kind of person to become. But what if that feeling itself is part of the illusion? Imagine your consciousness as a passenger watching decisions appear rather than truly creating them. Your brain processes enormous amounts of information outside conscious awareness. Memories, emotions, instincts, fears, habits, sensory input, and survival mechanisms constantly interact beneath the surface. By the time a thought reaches conscious awareness, your brain may have already done most of the work. And, strangely, everyday life already hints at this. Sometimes you say something before fully thinking about it. Sometimes your body reacts before your mind understands the danger. Sometimes a song suddenly appears in your head for no clear reason. Thoughts often seem to emerge automatically rather than being consciously constructed piece by piece, which raises another disturbing question. Can you predict your next thought before thinking it? Try it. For a few seconds, wait for your next completely random thought to appear. You cannot know exactly what it will be before it arrives. It simply emerges into awareness. That realization has disturbed philosophers for centuries, because if thoughts appear automatically, then where is the self controlling them? Some scientists argue that consciousness is more like a narrator than a commander. Your brain performs actions first, then consciousness creates a story explaining them afterward. In this view, the conscious mind may function less like a king giving orders and more like a news reporter describing events after they already happened. But the mystery becomes even stranger when we look at split-brain patients. In rare medical procedures, the connection between the brain's two hemispheres was partially severed, and sometimes the two halves appeared to behave almost like separate minds sharing one body. One hand buttons a shirt while the other unbuttons it. One side responds differently from the other. It is as if multiple systems inside the brain compete for control simultaneously. So which part is actually you? The emotional systems? The logical systems? Memory? Language? Instinct? There may not be one single you inside the brain at all. What humans experience as identity could simply be the brain combining countless processes into one continuous illusion of self. And yet, despite all this, consciousness still feels undeniably real. You still experience emotions. You still suffer. You still hope, fear, love, and dream. Even if the brain constructs the experience itself still exists. And perhaps that is the strangest part of all. The brain is made of ordinary physical matter, atoms, electricity, chemicals. Yet somehow, those physical processes create subjective experience. A lump of biological tissue became aware of itself. The universe produced organisms capable of questioning their own existence. And despite centuries of science, nobody fully understands how consciousness actually emerges from matter. Some researchers believe consciousness is simply what highly advanced information processing feels like from the inside. Others suspect consciousness may be something far deeper that science still cannot explain. But regardless of the answer, one fact remains terrifyingly clear. Everything you have ever experienced exists inside your brain. Every memory, every person you know, every emotion, every color, every sound. Your entire perception of reality is constructed internally through electrical signals interpreted by the brain. You have never directly experienced the outside world exactly as it is. only the brain's simulation of it, which means the thing you call reality is ultimately filtered through the very organ you are trying to understand. And maybe that is why consciousness feels so mysterious. The brain is attempting to study itself from the inside, like a book trying to read itself, or a mirror reflecting another mirror forever. So is your brain controlling you? Probably, but the more disturbing possibility is this. You may not be separate from your brain at all. The voice hearing these words right now might simply be what your brain feels like from the inside.